All right, so buckle up because we are diving headfirst into Foul Play Ricky Season 4. And from the looks of it, judging by this mountain of episode summaries and dialogue, this is going to be a wild one.
It's funny. This season really throws the typical, like, comedic noir thing right out the window. I mean, we're
Yeah.
not just talking, case of the week here. It's like alternate dimensions, a whole multiverse of Rickies, more twists and turns than you can shake a stick at. It's a lot.
For anyone who maybe hasn't had the distinct pleasure of experiencing Foul Play Ricky before, just picture like a tough-talking detective, right? But he's quoting like Terminator 2 one minute and then chasing a sentient toaster down Michigan Avenue the next.
Yeah, it's that kind of deadpan humor mixed with, like, the pure absurdity of it all.
Right.
And season 4, oh, they really double down on that, like crank it up to 11.
Yeah, and it kicks off with with a bang, literally. At the end of Season 3, Ricky finally confronts Joe Tourniquet, who, by the way, if you can believe it, used to be Joel Timberlake. Long story. But yeah, just as Ricky thinks he's got him, bam! Looking down the barrel of Joe's his trusty laser pistol.
Which brings us to Ricky, spoiler alert, taking a dirt nap in the very first episode. You gotta admit, it's a bold move, killing off your main character right out of the gate.
Right. Talk about starting strong. But then again, this is Foul Play Ricky, so death is, well, it's never really the end, is it? Things get really weird when Joe's, his big plan to, like, rewrite reality kind of backfires. Fractures the universe, pulls in all these other Rickies from across the multiverse.
Oh yeah, we're talking like a smooth-talking, chain-smoking 40s Ricky, a 60s hipster Ricky. There's even like a cartoon Ricky.
Yeah.
Communicating through like thought bubbles and stuff. Each one is like a different path, a different version of what Ricky could have been. It's pretty wild.
It's like Into the Spider-Verse,
Yes.
but with more fedoras and existential dread. And this is where the season gets really interesting and maybe a little divisive for longtime fans.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, all these different Rickies, it's hilarious, don't get me wrong, but it can be, a little much. I've heard some fans say it gets too convoluted.
Yeah.
Too many storylines, too many characters, too many meta references. It's a lot to keep track of.
It really is. It's like the writers took everything they had, every idea, every character, threw it all in a blender and hit pulse. You get these moments of pure genius and then, bam, chaos. Even for Foul Play Ricky, it's a lot.
It is. But even with all the chaos, there's a method to the madness. The show, it never loses sight of its heart of what makes it Foul Play Ricky. And in the middle of all the multiverse shenanigans, they actually start dealing with some pretty deep stuff.
It's like they're using humor, right,
Yeah.
to like explore these big questions about what makes us who we are. If there are like infinite versions of ourselves out there, what makes this version, the real deal?
Right. Makes you think, doesn't it? Although this is Foul Play Ricky, so we're also talking about a show where Ricky dies again. This time, get this, in robot heaven.
Okay, hold on. Robot heaven. You gotta elaborate on that.
So imagine this. You know those pearly gates? They're guarded by these like robot angels with laser eyes, and instead of harps, it's just like nonstop dubstep remixes.
I can't even. This is amazing.
And instead of St. Peter, you got Optimus Prime standing there, judging souls based on their like chassis integrity and stuff.
Okay, that is brilliant. But even with all the like the robot rave parties and whatnot, this whole detour actually lets them, get into some surprisingly deep stuff, right? Like, what does it even mean to be conscious, if you're a robot?
Yeah, and is it ethical, to create a sentient toaster? It's Foul Play Ricky, but with like a philosophical twist. And this is actually where I think the season's structure, as messy as it might seem, actually kind of works in its favor,
How so?
Well, all these like seemingly random things that happen, like that improv episode you mentioned, they're not just there for laughs.
Yeah, that episode was not something else.
It's like the show itself is saying, hey, we're not afraid to break the rules, to try new things, to embrace the unexpected,
Yeah, I get that. That improv episode was like the characters themselves realized they were in this crazy, unpredictable story, and they just kind of went with it, which I guess is kind of the Foul Play Ricky MO.
Exactly. It's self-aware, like it knows it's being absurd, but it totally owns it, and that's what makes it so much fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously.
Okay, but we can't forget about that ending. I mean, talk about a cliffhanger. Just as Ricky and his crew of misfits are about to face off against Joe on his well, on his spaceship, which is really just like a beat-up Astro van. He's turned into a spaceship.
Wait, what? The Astrovan.
Oh, yeah, classic show. But anyway, just as they're about to have this epic showdown, we get the biggest twist of the season.
Judy.
Judy, I know, right? Back from, well, we all thought she was gone for good. And nobody, and I mean nobody, saw that coming. It's like the writers reached back into like season 1 and were like, you know what this season needs? A blast from the past.
It's classic foul play Rinky, though, right? They drop these little hints, these seeds early on, and you don't even realize they're important until, bam, they blossom into something major seasons later.
So with Foul Play Ricky, the movie coming out, how do you think this all ties in? It can't just be a coincidence, right? That they end the season on such a massive cliffhanger. They've got to be setting up something huge.
Oh, I think it's safe to say the movie is going to have major, and I mean major, repercussions for the entire Rickyverse. This isn't just a standalone story. This feels like a reset button.
It's like they're acknowledging the chaos.
Right.
All the multiverse madness they've created.
Yeah.
And they're using the movie as a way to hit, like, Control-Alt-Delete on the whole narrative.
Yeah, but in a way that still feels true to the show. It's a gamble, sure. But if anyone can pull off this kind of meta, mind-bending, hilarious action comedy, it's the Foul Play Ricky team. They always find a way.
Yeah, it really does feel like they're saying, okay, everybody, hold on tight because things are about to get even crazier.
Right, and that's what makes these deep dives so much fun. It's not just about, like, picking apart a show, right? It's about exploring the possibilities of storytelling itself.
Absolutely. And hey, for all of you listening, think about this. If you got sucked into the Rickyverse, what would your alternate self be like? Like, would you be the hard-boiled detective, or maybe a world-famous scientist, or maybe even like, I don't know, a talking rutabaga who solves crimes?
Now that's a show I'd watch.
Yeah.
But on a serious note, this season, as wild as it gets, it really makes you think about choices, and how each one leads to, well, a different version of ourselves.
It's like that saying, right? Every choice is a fork in the road, a different path, a different you. And Foul Play Ricky takes that idea and throws it in a blender with like noir, sci-fi, a whole lot of heart.
A potent mix, for sure. And going into the movie, I think we're all left with this lingering question. Sometimes the most profound ideas come from the most outlandish places,
And with a show like Foul Play Ricky, you know you're going to have a good laugh along the way.
So, as we wrap things up here, one last thought to leave you with. What would your alternate self tell you to do differently? And would you even listen?
Definitely something to think about, especially as we anxiously await the next chapter in this crazy world that is Foul Play Ricky.